I've put so much heart and soul and so much time. I've been working on this for months, wanting to get it like just right within the short time frame that we have, so that it's really impactful and powerful. Glad to see that you all stepped up and said, you know what, I want to do this. I'm ready for this because it's going to be, things are going to accelerate, right? This is going to do a lot when you're connecting inside to your truth, to your voice, and connecting to what really matters for you in your life. Because there's so many things to place our attention on. And with social media, we're constantly being distracted. Our attention is getting pulled all over the place. And so this is an opportunity for you to look at, where is my attention going? What am I focusing on? And then what is that getting me in return? Because that's an investment. Just like your money, right? That's energy, focus, attention. That's energy. And that's why you've got Google and Meta and TikTok and all of these um, companies advertising to you, because they all want your attention, because attention is money. Attention is the currency that we live in now. And so this process that we're going through over the next 30 days ultimately is going to be the process of turning your attention, your time, your energy, your focus towards the things that matter most to you. And if you're not completely clear on that, you're going to be getting clearer as we go through this process with the coaching. So, yeah. Who's excited?
Me.
Good. So all of you have worked with me before. That's special. It's always nice when I get to work with you again and get to know you even more. I want all of you to be able to bring your voice into this circle, into this space, into our virtual room together. So share a little bit about yourself, whatever it is that you want to share. And then what is it that drew you to doing this, that you said, you know what, I think I want to do that. I'm going to give that a shot. Kristen, would you like to begin?
Sure. I don't know about you all, but every time I'm asked to introduce myself, I get this little pang of terror inside, like, oh, so awkward. What am I going to say? So now you know that about me. That's a state that I reach for or become. It takes over pretty often. And so that's one of the things I'm trying to work on. Mostly just noticing it and being with it as opposed to shaming myself for it. Another coach that I've worked with in the past gave me some great advice, and she said, tell on yourself. And it really is such a beautiful thing that is an invitation for vulnerability for others. So I guess this is my version of me telling on myself. So I have had the pleasure of being on 3 retreats with Lorraine. That's how I find myself here. And I will say that each retreat, we've had an entirely different experience with each other, which is also why I'm here. But about a year ago, January, my mother died, and then 8 days later, my aunt died, and I made a very wise decision at the time to allow myself to grieve, and that took the form of taking a leave of absence from my job, which was very high visibility, high powered. I made a lot of money, and it was the scariest thing I ever did. I took 3 months off, totally stepped aside, did grieving, kind of in the best way, like however it showed up on any given day. And really, it was a massive gift to myself, which I think was why it was so scary. I'm not used to choosing me, right? I've been conditioned to choose me. And all of that, what is everyone going to think? And what are my coworkers going to think? And everything. Anyway, it became very clear to me over that time that I was really not just grieving. I was I was deeply, deeply burnt out, and started my healing journey. And I would say that I was sort of um, kicked into spiritual awakening um, when my mother died. So it's been an incredible, what, almost 15 months now. Um, and I've done a lot of exploration. And another big giant gift I gave to myself, I stepped away from my career altogether in September. Again, it was terrifying, but the universe was no longer sort of tapping me on the shoulder. It was like dropping anvils on my head at this point. So it was, the writing was beyond than, on the wall. So um, I have the pleasure of all this free time and have been very exploratory. Love doing research, love learning, into the healing stuff, and I'll try anything once. And I, have a stack of books I'm constantly reading. But what I find is I can go down rabbit holes, and like weeks have gone by and I haven't really had much of any structure around what I'm doing, or I'm not really, spending enough time weaving the pieces together. So I'm in this like really exciting period, and I'm fooling around with a lot of things. And I'm hopeful that sort of this 30 days will help me kind of provide a little more structure to my time and my efforts. I think that's enough.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes when we let go of something that was such a part of our life, it's like we're adrift and we don't know what we're doing. We need something else to focus in on. And as you were sharing, a couple things, I was like, ooh, I know that other people in this group
Mm,
have experienced what you're talking about. Like, who has left a job that they felt overwhelmed and burned out in here, even though it wasn't logical?
mm,
Mhm.
mm.
Yep. Yep. And then what was the other one? I don't remember what it is, but it'll come back to me. I'm sure Parissa will will pick up on
Mm.
it. So thanks, Kristen. I appreciate that share. Yeah. So Parissa, you wanna share next?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me? I feel like I've come back from the dead and I feel so good. So I don't know how to talk about the last 11 months. I don't. So I don't I don't know what to say. But I feel like I can breathe again. And I'm just so happy. I lost my cat February 14th on Valentine's Day. But last night, like 3 in the morning, I thought his soul is not dead. So I have to honor him, and I'm not going to mourn the same anymore. I'm I'm going to reflect on his life with gratitude, and my tears will be tears of happiness and gratitude. Um yeah, I honestly transitioned into that state of mind and I feel so much lighter. 1 week ago today, I left an abusive relationship. I didn't tell him I was leaving. He was gone for 15 minutes, and I was able to get a neighbor to help me in that time take my bags to the backyard. But I'm okay, and I think that I'm a little traumatized and I have some PTSD. But I just want to say thank you for letting me be a part of this group. And I truly feel so happy to be healthy, safe, and alive.
Thanks for starting things with all that vulnerability, Carissa. Tiffany.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah, I was just holding a little space there.
How you doing? How you
Do
doing?
I?
How you doing?
I am doing really well, thank you. I am Tiffany. I had my second transplant in July, and I was for 18 months, I was literally laying on my deathbed, and I had a lot of time to think about things and process things, but I wasn't in a clear state of mind. I was really just in survival mode. And now I find myself in a space of understanding who I am now after after all of that. So I feel that these 30 days will be a great start to a structure to really start diving deep into what came up for me during that time, what's coming up for me now, and just healing that part. My body's healing, and I just want to heal the mind and soul with it as well. So.
Beautiful.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Samira, you able to come on camera, introduce yourself? There we go.
Hello, my name is Samira. I really connected with Parissa when she brought up her domestic violence situation. My heart goes out to you, and kudos to you for getting out because not all women do. Um, I was I had this a similar situation. Um, I was married, and for about I was with the man for about 8.5 years. We were married. I moved halfway across the country down to Florida. And we opened, we had a small company together. It wasn't anything crazy. It was just a cleaning company, but it was right on, right when COVID started. So we were just, kind of scrambling and, trying to figure out life together, basically. And whatever. As it progressed, we it got worse. And then when we got married, it was kind of a thing where it was like, you belong to me. Um, what made me finally leave was he so he's a professional boxer, and he's never this is ridiculous to say, but he's never close fisted me. And the day that he did, I almost knocked out. And then the following day, I went to work, came back, and we got into it again. He smashed some glass decor on the floor and basically slid me across it. He almost paralyzed me that day. So I ran to my sister's, whatever. Fast forward, my grandmother died. My mother had a heart attack. My father has cancer. My uncle was murdered. So it was so many, all in the span of I left my husband 2 years ago. 2.5 years ago. But all those other things that happened like within the course of maybe like 6, 7 months. So it was like trying to come out from that and then all these other things where I felt like you take 3 steps forward and then take 2 steps back kind of thing. And it was like, I know, just the natural like happiness that I was and like the carefree. And I mean, I know, as you get older, you scar and, you're not really the child that you used to be. But, when you're genuinely happy, you move differently. Your day is filled with different things. Your mind thinks a little bit differently. And I went to a few different um not therapists, but like so I saw like I say oh my God, why am I blanking? A psychic. There we go. I saw a psychic. I saw someone who does like aura readings and cleansings. And then I came across Lorraine. I came across her maybe 6 months ago, like her website. And I was like, maybe, maybe not, I don't know if I want to. And then that's when everything started happening. It was like a domino effect of things. And I just felt myself changing, and then I also had an ectopic pregnancy within all of that. And then I also miscarried 3 months after that, which was like two months ago, a month and a half ago. Um, but yeah, Lorraine, by the way, I ended up miscarrying that child that you and I were talking about. Wait, no, no, I miscarried before I met you. I'm so sorry. Like right before. Um, but yeah, so all that happened, and then I just kind of like found myself like on the website again, and I reached out to her. She got back to me, and then in the Muslim religion, there's a holiday called Ramadan, and it's basically just like a month of like no alcohol, no like basically abstain from just all, sex, violence. I mean, not that, I naturally partake in violence, but, kind of like staying away from, all those things and, giving back, in every way you can kind of thing. And it's just a month of peace and like kind of thinking back on, the year and just, wishing for, a good, healthy year for you and your family and, thinking about those who've passed and just that kind of thing. And Lorraine basically reached out to me to the date like a week before that holiday was going to begin. And I was like, that's kind of weird, and I'm a huge believer in signs, like such a believer in signs. Like, God, give me a sign, and if it's like a stop sign like right next to me, like, okay, it's stopped, don't that kind of thing. So and Lorraine literally no, I spoke to my fiance, and he was like, he kind of got chills about it. And so I continued with the journey with Lorraine, and it's been 2 weeks, right? A little over 2 weeks maybe,
2 weeks and a
or
day.
almost.
2 weeks and a day.
Yeah, when her and I basically had that first meeting, and it was rough, and it was something I haven't experienced before. But I could say that I am grateful and thankful that I did take that leap and invested in my just like my overall well-being, your mental state. And because if you're not there mentally, you can't be there for anybody, so I basically ended up doing that, and my fiance was super supportive. And um he even noticed like a big change. Sorry, that's my cat. He even noticed like a big change in me. And yeah, I still feel like a little bit, like a little tug and pull, but it's I mean, it's night and day difference, night and day. So And then she told me about this 30-day program that she was doing. And I have a lot of availability today because I didn't go to work. So I thought, why not join in and, see if I, potentially, would want to do the whole 30 days. So here I am. So sorry for the rant. And it's so great to meet everybody. And Lorraine, thank you so much for just everything.
Welcome. So Merritt, do you feel like sharing like what the night and day difference is like? Just to kind of like
Yeah.
have it like, worked one on one with me to give them an idea.
Yeah, of course. So that night and day difference that I explained, it was, well, that I talked about was like I used to wake up in the morning and I kind of feel like this like fogginess in my brain where it's like, granted, I also have ADHD working against me as well. So that mounted with just so many, it's like mountains, of just, like the devil, or you know what I mean? Like just trying to like pull you down, or who however you want to proclaim it. Um, and after I had my session with Lorraine, it took maybe, like a day or two, but I mean, within 48 hours, it was, I wake up and I'm just naturally, I feel lighter. I don't feel that dragging or as much of that heaviness, that I did before I had that session with her. You know, also, um, just my overall happiness. I mean, my fiance, like 3 days ago, we were just watching a TV show and I just started busting out laughing. He was like, I haven't heard you laugh that like genuine. He was like, it's maybe been 7 months. And like that brought me to tears, and like he's the like one of the only people that know just like everything that I've been through with my divorce and getting away and just starting over and like just everything. And that it was like little, when it felt impossible, it now feels like of course I can still cry about it because it's emotional, but and the rain just has that tendency to make everybody emotional. um but like I said, night and day, I wake up in the morning and I just wake up, like my body just springs up. Like I wake up before my alarm. Like the last week and a half, I wake up before my alarm, and I don't know, like the colors are brighter in a way, and it's just, I don't know, like I notice those small things, like like an old couple, like walking down the street and they're, like they're just so cute, it's like couple goals kind of thing, or like kids, just playing, or laughing, or that, like just small things, where I wouldn't necessarily notice before because I was always so in my head. Lorraine, gave me that gave me something where I basically am able to begin to get out of it. And it was almost immediately the effects of it and that night and day difference.
Awesome. I love hearing it. This is the first that we've been able to check in other than like a text message. And so I'm really glad to hear that, everything's so night and day for you. And I just want to say some things real quick. First of all, I thank you for sharing that, because the reason I wanted you to share what was possible from this work is because this program that I put together, I've actually been working on it for longer than December, November. I've been working on this for years, pieces of this, and this is my best attempt to consolidate it. But it's, how can I replicate these profound effects that I'm able to help people get with one-on-one work and put it in a group program, right? And so that's one piece of my intention behind this. And the second piece is giving you skills and tools so that you don't have to come to me the next time that there's some sort of thing coming up, some sort of conflict, some sort of trauma that's like, oh, here's the next layer. Let me go see Lorraine again. I want to give you the skills and tools to be able to do this on your own. So this is a self-healing course. And then the third component is creating community where everyone has these skills and tools so that you can go to each other to hold space. Right. And so then, like Parissa, if you have a challenge, you could be talking to Vanessa, and Vanessa now has the skills and tools to hold space without taking the stuff on. Right. Because most of us here are probably empaths, and we know what it's like to be like, oh my God, that's too much. I'm going to take that on. So to be able to hold space without taking it on, that's part of what we're going to be learning in the next 30 days. And so, Parissa, if you went to Vanessa, Vanessa knows to say, Parissa, do you just want to vent? Do you just want me to listen? Or do you want some support? Do you want advice? Do you want coaching? Right? So do you want to vent and be listened to? Or do you want advice? And be able to have the skills and tools to be able to give the coaching pieces, to have the skills and tools to hold space without now making it all about yourself, because most people don't know how to listen. Most people don't know how to hold space. And I get more into that when I do like my relationship course. And so we won't get into that as much, but we'll definitely cover it in this because it's super important to be able to do that in order to hold boundaries with other people and express what we need and want from them, and to be able to respect other people's boundaries. Right. So that will definitely be a piece that we go into going into like week 3 and 4. Samira, another piece that I wanted to address and talk about was, you said, it's like I'm able to see things for the first time. Things are brighter, things are clearer. I have another person that I'm working with, a man, and he's like saying the same thing now, and his relationship with his partner is completely transformed. All of a sudden he's seeing her, he's smelling her perfume that he never noticed all these many years. Because the thing about trauma, right, when we're living in a traumatic state, we're not fully present in the now. And so many of the people that I work with, particularly Kristen, like these high achieving people, they're good at getting stuff, but they're not good at being present. And when it comes down to it, I'm like, well, what do you want? They're like, I want to be able to be present. I want to be able to be here right now and experience, Samira, what you were talking about, the joy of just right now. The colors brighter, the scents brighter, to be with their kids and not constantly have the chatter like, I got to do something. I got to keep moving. Because when we've experienced trauma, being still and not doing anything and not moving and not being productive feels dangerous. Right?
Yeah, that trauma really gets you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to interject there and just give you guys an idea of what's possible in the next 30 days. And also ask for your grace and empathy, because I haven't done this before. And so this is a great experiment, but we've got this awesome group to do this. And everything in me is like, oh yeah, like this is going to be awesome. Okay.
Lorraine, is it
Yeah.
all right if we just piggyback on something you said?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Like when you're traumatized and you're in a state of trauma or dysregulation, you virtually cannot be present. But I think the other aspect of that too that I experience is I can't even really be in my body. And it's been very recent that I've understood how infrequently I'm in my body. And like, you know, having conversations and sessions with you and others, it's like every time I'm asked, where do you feel that in your body? It's almost impossible for me to pinpoint because I've been so, popping out of my body. Like that's almost more my natural state. So I just thought it was important that maybe other people feel that too. I didn't even realize that was a thing until I realized it was a thing very recently.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, it's really common. It's really common, Kristen,
Mhm.
for people to not have any clue what it means to be in their body.
Mhm.
And that's where the good stuff is. That's where the juiciness is. But it's also where the scary stuff is.
Right.
Because we store all that stuff in our body, the memories, the emotions, all of it is in our body.
Mhm.
But it's through connecting to our bodies, to our inner connection, that we get to heal those and then have a much more balanced and beautiful relationship with our body and ourselves. Yeah. Thanks for piggybacking on that. All right. Vanessa, Catherine, I'm wondering where you're all at in your ability to share. Vanessa, you want to go? Or you want me to go?
No, it's all right. I got you, Catherine. Give me just a second to get the video on. Alrighty. Hello, everyone. All right. Excuse me. First, I want to just going forward. I work nights, so normally I'm kind of sleeping right now. So I might come on without camera and not be visible for a minute, but I'm here and present. I'm just maybe you won't be able to see me. So just wanted to throw that out. So you wonder, why I'm the troll hiding in the background. I promise I'm not. And I also want to thank everyone for being so vulnerable, because I love these spaces for the fact that all of us can be raw and open and relate to each other, because I can definitely relate to both um, Carissa and Samira as far as like the domestic issues. I was with a highly abusive individual for 17 years. So I often say, a lot of people get into narcissistic relationships. A lot of them are smarter than not stay for 17 years. But it was what it was, and it was what it needed to be at the time. So, but that was 13 years ago. So fast forwarding to now, in between then and just a couple of years ago, I had made giant leaps and bounds transformations. Like I was, to be quite honest, pretty badass for quite a while and doing really, really well. And 2.5 years ago, in July of 22, I moved to where I live now. I lived in St. Louis before. Now I'm living just outside in a suburb of Portland, Oregon. So I'm living in Southern Washington now. Love it. It had been a dream of mine for years to live out. I came out and visited, just fell in love with the energy and the nature and the feeling and the lack of humidity and all of the things that just felt so great. And we were here for a while. I moved out here with my fiance, and we had a lot of purpose for her to be here. And it was like, well, I've always wanted to go, so you can't go without me, kind of thing. So we both just, okay, we're doing this. And it was, a little while afterwards, people like Lorraine and others would be like, so is it all you thought it was going to be? Is it just as great as you thought it was going to be? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know that I really came here with any intention. I don't have any expectations being met because I didn't set any other than coming out here and living more. I hadn't really, there was no purpose behind my being here, whereas my fiance had a very grand purpose, and her purpose is coming through. Um, So a lot of my energy was focused on making sure that she was supported in what she was doing in her endeavors. And as her goals were being met, our relationship was changing drastically, and not always in bad ways, but they were in ways that I had no control of. So it was kind of like feeling like my life was in a snow globe and being upended and shook around every once in a while. And I'm reeling, trying to figure out and accept that this just happened and this is where my life is now. This is the trajectory. And then it would get shaken again, like, okay, this is where we're at now and this is what we're doing. And then changes in our community happened here and got really volatile. And so that was scary. And I didn't want to go out. It's really hard making friends as an adult. It's because I feel like when my girls were younger, it was really easy to make friends with other parents. You know, you go to school, you're in that community, you're all in the trenches together doing this thing. And so you can bond over that. You can bond over being parents. You can bond over all the various different ways and types and issues that come with parenting. As an adult, especially moving to a completely new place where people are established and they have their circles and have their friends that they've had, like I had, you know, for years and eons, it's really difficult getting into those groups. So socially, I was very isolated. Had a couple of friends. I have a couple of really, really beautiful people here, thank goodness, but certainly not the collective that I had before, and that was very difficult. So kind of fast forward, it's been 2.5 years. 6 months ago, well, over that time, I was diagnosed with ADHD, which after after the third or fourth person, I would describe something about my personality to them, and they're like, "Oh, do you have ADHD?" And I'm like, "Why do y'all keep asking me this?" I don't understand. Well, it turns out, hello, I'm part of the crowd, and getting used to that, figuring out how to navigate ADHD, going through perimenopause. That looks a lot like ADHD in a lot of ways, but is also very different. So navigating that and trying to figure out how to be that human whose life was together and now isn't because of all these various reasons. And then last year, again, I found out that I had gone from pre-diabetes to full-on diabetic, which I decided I was not prepared to deal with that and let it go for a little while. Then finally, okay, I'm ready to deal with this. Trying not to get too far on the trenches with that, but since last October, I've had some very, very, very big health struggles, and a lot of it was centered around the diabetes, but no one caught it for 4 months. And in the meantime, my diabetes went crazy. And so I have had to go through some pretty extreme lifestyle changes in order to get it out of this screaming red zone back down to a much more manageable place. So I have not in the past, not through lack of trying, I've not been able to get back to where I want to be, you know, who I am, really reconnecting with myself. What is a Vanessa at 48 years of old? Yeah, years of old, years of age, in this new place, doing these new things, having access to all these different things. Really just in this completely different stage of life. You know, my adult daughters and one of their fiancés live here with us, which I am so incredibly grateful for. But it's also different being a parent to adults. You know, I told them coming in, like, I'm not going to be here to raise teenagers anymore. We're all grown ups, blah, blah, blah. But I also find myself reverting to very mom of teenager behavior in myself. It's not even them, it's how I'm responding to them and how I'm talking to them and how I'm doing things. So learning a whole new language and learning respect and boundaries, which I teach classes on respect and boundaries, but it's difficult to break those, you know, those behaviors. And again, figuring out who and what I am, what am I going to do? And it's kind of funny when Lorraine approached this, like, I am actively trying to revise my health in general. You know, I went from 3 years ago not taking any maintenance drugs at all in any way, shape, or form to now taking a lot. And I have the reality of 2 or 3 of them I'll probably never be able to not take anymore. You know, others I can get through, but a few of them I probably won't. And that's okay. I just would rather not have a fistful of drugs every day that I have to take. Sort of sobering. But yeah, I have been like, I need to be exercising. I really, really need to get my diet under control. Part of the, she said that part of it is going to be focusing on creativity. I feel guilty for doing art, because I feel like my time should be better spent doing something else. I should be doing this and that before I allow myself to enjoy something, which is kind of sick, right? And I've also found myself very averse to doing hard things. Like, I don't want to do anything hard. There's been a lot of hard. I don't want hard anymore. I want things to be comforting and easy and complacent. And even for the past 5 years on New Year's Day, I have hosted or on my own done a polar plunge where just jump into a cold body of water. And the idea behind it was the first day of the year, do something hard and not die. And the rest of the year is going to be easier. I didn't do it this year because I wasn't compelled to. And I don't know if it was because I didn't need to or because I didn't want to do anything hard, or I didn't want to wake up early enough or drive far enough or whatever. So a lot of things to contemplate there, but basically, yeah, I'm just here to I need a reset. I need to take that time and put that energy on myself and figure out who and what I am, what I need to be doing, what's my new normal, what direction am I going into, and just to kind of get out of that complacency. Because while things have been hard, it's been very reactive. And I feel like over the years, this is getting long, I apologize. Over the years, I have recognized things. I'm like, yeah, shit, that's happening. Oh my God, this is something I really need to deal with, and put it on the back burner. And the universe gives me a kick in the ass. And like, you can no longer ignore this. Now you have to deal with this. And hence, I'm taking a fistful of drugs every day. So that was definitely a pretty sobering wake up call. And I definitely heard. So yeah, that's why I'm here, is to just kind of reinvent me again for what feels like the dozenth time of my life. But I feel like this time it's going to be, I don't know what to expect. Again, I'm in a completely different place with a vast number of options available to me. So we'll see. And thank you for joining my TED Talk.
Glad you're on board. Yeah. Glad you said yes. Yeah.
Thank you for letting me know you're doing this. This is exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And before we move on to Catherine, our last person, why don't we all just take a deep breath? Yeah. Let's take another one. Breathe in. Yeah. I meant to do that towards the beginning to get us all synced up. So, Catherine, you there?
Well, I guess I get to go last.
Just like you wanted, I'm sure.
I'll try to keep it short and sweet. But I did enjoy hearing what everybody else had to say, and it brings out, helps to bring out some of the feelings that maybe I deal with myself, let's see. I guess I have a hard time with following through with things, like there's things that I want and need to get done, maybe around my house. And I tell myself, okay, I'm going to work on this project this day and then this one. So I have a hard time with follow through. So hopefully, this can help me with feeling more in control of my life and clearer head, mentally, and the energy mentally to follow through with those things rather than starting and then not completing, Um, and that's just one of the things. Um, I think it was Kristen brought up about never feeling fully present in the now. And I related to that. I've got a boyfriend and he's a great guy, and I know none of us are perfect. And I always feel like when we go out someplace, okay, so we're not in our houses, we go out, I always feel like I am maybe not in fully in the present and being able to enjoy whatever it is that we're out doing, because maybe I'm comparing myself to other people. I feel like he's looking at other people, which I think he is just because he's a people person. I think he looks at males and females and he's not looking at them in a sexual way or anything. He's just observant like that. He's people person. And I have a hard time getting past that, and it keeps me from being able to enjoy the present, being in the present, I should say, because I'm constantly filled with these thoughts in my head and comparing myself to others. So I want to be able to feel more control of my life and enjoy things rather than that feeling of, maybe you'd call it a form of insecurity somewhat. Um, somebody had mentioned that, I don't know if somebody did, but it made me think of, sometimes I feel like, this is another instance. Um, I want to feel more control of my life rather than just feeling like I'm just wandering through life day by day. I wake up at 6:30 in the morning, I get ready for work and go to work and just wandering. And maybe it was Vanessa that mentioned, about not doing, not do, let's see, not doing, no, not doing something. I guess it can't be like it's too hard, I can't do it. I'm not smart enough, I can't do it. I'm 54 years old. My brain doesn't work very good anymore. I can't learn something new, you know? And I just feel like I'm just kind of wandering and feel like maybe I'm too scared, don't have the confidence in myself to be able to use my brain any harder than I am. And I don't want those, I tell myself, I don't want those stresses in my life. That's not healthy for me, anyways. So I need to strengthen my mind and body. So I saw your program that you were having and just sounded like something that would benefit me in these different areas.
Thanks for sharing all that. That's a lot of really great, specific stuff that you know that you want. My intention is that you get those. It's 30 days, so it's going to give you a jumping off point. It's going to set things in motion. And then it'll be up to you to keep things going unless we keep this going in some other way. Yeah. But during this 30 days, you'll be getting everything that you need in order to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
And Catherine, I'm just curious, did you feel like sharing anything about your own past that maybe you felt you had similarities with some of the people in the group? And it's okay if that's no.
I mean, I was married for 23 years and people would look at people in the public eye would probably look at us like, oh, perfect family from the outside. You know what I mean? But inside, I was hurting. I felt empty inside because my entire marriage. I know that sounds ridiculous, that my entire marriage was like this, but was very unsexual, I guess maybe you would call it. And I didn't realize that it was like that. Well, when we were engaged for a very short time. Between when we met and got engaged and got married, it was a total of 11 months. And we weren't really physical because I said, I'd always had physical relationships. I said I didn't want to when I met him, which that was a mistake. But anyways, so then we go on our honeymoon, and I mean, even on our wedding night, we didn't get physical on our wedding night. And then we're on our honeymoon for 10 days, a beautiful tropical place, and we were physical twice and not, it wasn't like it was elaborate. Well, that was the sign of what the rest of my marriage was going to be like. And then I found out a couple years into the marriage, I found pornography on his computer, which he made up a story about. And I believed him. But in the back of my head, I did not believe him. But I could never catch him to prove it. And then once I finally did, 2 children later, which were planned, and I got pregnant right away, um, in the middle of the night, like 2 o'clock in the morning, the baby woke up and he went into the baby's room, and I went into the office, and he had been downloading a bunch of pornography. And so that made sense now why we didn't have a physical relationship, because he had a porn addiction. And to him, he came out and told me it was easier just to be able to look at the screen and get it done. And why did he need to come home and like please his wife? And so I think that just kind of really made me feel empty inside, like a hole in my chest. But I mean, so we ended up getting divorced after 23 years. Um, but I don't have that hole in my chest. I'm not sad. He's remarried. And, it doesn't bother me. I'm happy for him. He's happy. So
He's
that
happy. He's
doesn't,
happy being unhappy.
right. He's happy being unhappy.
So just one last piece. Just I feel like I want to connect some dots here before like we move on. How do you think that your marriage with your ex and the lack of intimacy, how do you think that's affecting you now, and how it is that you respond when you're out in public with your partner now, and the thoughts that you have about yourself not feeling enough? What do you think?
I don't know. I
What do
don't
you
know.
think that has to do with it?
I don't know. That's what I can't figure out, because it's not pornography. And we're physical, like when we're together, my boyfriend and I, and we've been together for almost 5 years.
So let me ask you, let me ask you a question. What was the story you told yourself about why your husband prefers porn over you?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm small chested, so I'm really insecure about that, like a size B cup. And he married somebody that has humongous breast. And so I think to myself, maybe that's That's what it was. He wasn't attracted to me. He was just at a time in his life, because he was 29 years old, where he was like, "Oh, this seems like a good woman. I better ask her to marry me." I don't know. But now I feel like, well, now he got what he really wanted, somebody with huge breasts. This is what I tell myself. I don't know. And
Yeah.
so maybe I've got insecurities about that, you know?
Yeah. What you're describing to me and to our group here, I don't know if any of you can put yourself in that position. I imagine you can. And just kind of like the mind fuck that happens. Like, why wouldn't my husband want to be with me? Like, what is it? And constantly trying to answer that question. And usually what it comes down to is it must be me, right? It must be my
Mm-hmm.
body. It must be my personality. I'm not smart enough. I'm not this enough. All of those things that you listed, where it's like, oh, I'm not enough in all these ways. And that must mean why he doesn't love me. He doesn't want me. And so that's my guess.
Mm.
Yeah. What's it like to hear that?
It makes me think, hopefully that's it, because I want to get past it, because it makes it so hard to be able to enjoy life, when I'm out with the guy that I'm dating, when I'm constantly looking around. Oh, is he going to find that woman attractive? Oh, is he going to be looking over there at her, and then watching him to see if he's looking at her? Oh, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I don't, maybe this sounds really stupid to everybody listening right now, but that's the kind of stuff that goes through my head.
Catherine, can you see us? Can you see us on here?
I can see you. I'll have to bring my computer home from work next time.
What if you slide to the right on your phone?
I don't think anybody
Mm.
thinks that you are like what you said was dumb or not relatable. I feel like we're just programmed to feel like that in a lot of ways, and I feel like that's not our fault. That's the environment that we were put into and that we just allowed ourselves to stay in, and it's what are you gonna do? I call it, and I'm not calling anybody this, I call it because I had this, I call it dumb bitch-itis because I had it for a long time because I knew it was bad for me, but I stuck
The same
around
thing?
because
The same thing or what? Or you mean with
something
your
something very similar to that. Yeah. So, my ex-husband, he also liked to do that, masturbate. We had a sexual, life and all that good stuff, but it wasn't what you would think it would be, and
Mhm.
like I mean it was every night before he showered, kind of thing. But it's that intimacy thing, it's that
Mm.
whole, how your partner makes you feel, but that shouldn't betray how you feel about yourself, and I feel like as women we have a hard time doing that. We project like how other people view us, and we translate that into how we feel about ourselves, and that's like the
Yeah.
most like it's the most foul thing that we could do to ourselves as women, in my opinion, kind of thing. And it's not easy, but I guarantee, I can't see you, but we're all beautiful, stunning women, and it is what it is. Your husband, unfortunately, he wasn't it for you, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't meant for you. We all, are given, certain things where we kind of, learn from it, and we're put in these situations where we have to kind of go through it, and then you met your man and now you're happy, and I hope he makes you feel like the most confident woman in the world, because that's how we all deserve to feel like,
Yeah.
even though we feel like they're lying to us. Like, I just woke up while you tell me I'm beautiful. Stop lying to me. It's that
Right,
toxic
right.
energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not our fault, girl.
And Samira, I know that you experienced something similar to that. At least two
Mhm.
weeks ago, you were. I don't think you are
Yeah.
now. Where our past relationships, they haunt us. Until we do the inner work. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mind over matter at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, kind of thing.
And it can keep us, from really enjoying the good things that we do have in our lives.
Absolutely. By the way, I love your hair, Lorraine. I'm so
Thanks.
jealous of like the white blonde that you have. Oh,
Thanks. It's not blonde, it's just
anyway,
white. It's just white. It's just silver at this point.
silver. There we go. Yep. I used to have it, but it's so hard to maintain. Like you need that perfect blonde shampoo.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. All right.
But
So
Catherine, I'm
go ahead,
sorry, Catherine,
Vanessa.
can I
Yeah.
share? Catherine, are you okay with me sharing something with you?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Make it
Sorry,
brief. Make it brief, Vanessa. Make it brief,
Okay,
Vanessa.
I'm gonna try. So whenever you were talking about, not being able to be fully present and not being in the moment and whatnot whenever you're with your boyfriend, I completely and totally understand. It makes 1,000,000% sense to have that feeling of, well, the previous person, I wasn't enough for them. Why would I be enough for you? You must be out shopping while we're out. That's one. You may not be consciously thinking about that, but that's makes perfect sense that you could.
yeah.
For me, I had so much trauma as a child. And like I said, my previous relationship growing up, that I had very much dissociated from emotion entirely. In order to make it through my life, I had to shut off my ability to feel pain and anger and sadness, which shut off everything. One of the first times I came out to the Pacific Northwest actually was the first time I saw the ocean. And when I got back to St. Louis, I realized I wasn't there. I didn't see the ocean that day. I didn't enjoy the experience. I didn't enjoy this experience I just had for 2 weeks with this great community and my kids and all these other things. I missed out on some very, very big moments in my life because I was not able to I was very closed. My emotions were dead because you can't just cut off one. They're all gone. The joy is
Hmm.
gone. The thrill is gone. All those things. And I
Hmm.
work very, 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 very hard to keep those conduits open now
Hmm.
because it's so easy to fall back into that. So I'm not saying that that's potentially something because it sounds like you had a lot of trauma for a long time and
Yeah.
shielding yourself from the potential of being hurt in that way again, not enough again and discarded again and again and again. I mean, I don't think any of us would blame you for not wanting to feel that again. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, just my 2 cents in my experience that is similar to what you described.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So before we go take a little break, Catherine, I'm just wondering, you just heard from Samira and Vanessa. I'm wondering, what's it like to hear that?
Um, makes me feel more normal, not just me. I mean, I don't know if they compare themselves to others, if they're out with their significant other or something. I need to not do that. Don't compare myself to others.
Mhm.
Yeah. And maybe that's normal. Maybe people do that. Look on social media and, so much stuff is fake out there and, you know.
Who has done that? Been out comparing themselves to others, people online. I don't know
I
if you
have.
can see Catherine, but everyone has their hands up.
I have, but I did it in the really, really toxic relationship that I was in, where he made me feel like I wasn't enough. Whereas in the relationship that I'm in right now, and just all around in my overall life, in my like career, family, relationship, just like myself in general, like all those things I've been working on for a few years now, and Lorraine's been able to help me kind of fast forward that. Um, where in my relationship now, yeah, it's those lingering thoughts, like does he really mean that compliment? But I don't I think it really is who you are, like who you're with, and the environment that they like provide around you, where it's like with the guy I'm with right now, I don't think about that for a second, because it's just in the room, it's just him and I, and I never thought that kind of relationship was ever possible, so it's when it's, time for you, and when that right person does come around, you will know, kind of thing. But I feel like
Hmm.
that will only happen when when I can't say when you're really 100% yourself, because I wasn't 100% myself.
Yeah.
But when you're with the right person, even when you're not, 100% yourself, they, push you and help you to become, that better part of yourself, opposed to judging you and taking your weakness for granted, kind of thing. It's like that's when you know that you're in the right direction, at least like relationship wise, in some
Hmm.
aspect, so.
Okay.
But I definitely do feel like we have all been there, and I feel like it's still, like relevant even to our present relationships. I feel like once you've felt that feeling, you'll always feel it in some kind of way,
Hmm.
but it won't affect you as much. It will be the first thing that pops in your head, kind of thing. At least for me.
Okay.
But I'm a Scorpio. I'm very stubborn, so I don't
Oh.
forgive easily, or I don't
All right.
forget easily,
All
kind of
right.
thing.
So I want us to take a break here soon. We've been talking a lot, and I want us to be able to get through this whole process. Tonight is I don't know if you all saw in any of the information that went out that tonight's a special 3-hour course. Does that work for everyone? Otherwise, there is the recording, so you can go back and listen to it if you're not able to stay the whole time. But before we go on break, have you all written out what your goals are in those 6 categories? No? Okay, I need to get better with my communication then. So we've got those 6 categories, and what I'll do is I will copy and paste them into the chat. Let me go ahead and do that now. And I want you to think about what you want it to look like for you, because this is customized to you. For each of these goal categories, I want you to decide what it's going to look like for you on a day-to-day basis. Because I've done programs in the past where we set a weekly goal or a monthly goal or 90-day goals. But this is each day. Each day is a new day. And you want to do everything that's on your list. And if you don't, then you start over at day 1.
Ooh.
You want to set yourself up for success.
So you said in each category, what is it going to look like to you? Did you say every day, or what's it going to look like to
Every
you
day. Every
every
day.
day?
These are daily practices. It looks like we're going to have to go over it a bit so that everyone's clear on what's going on. And then over the break, you can look over this, and then we'll talk about each piece, and then we'll set our goals, and then we'll go into our process. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Good.
Okay. So I'm
Okay.
going to put in there. And so you can look at that. And the one that you don't need to focus on is the interconnection piece, because I'll be giving you practices for that. You can add on anything else that you want to. So if you have an interconnection goal, say you know you want to meditate 15, 20 minutes every day, or start off the morning like getting into alignment and then doing a gratitude practice at night, which are things that I suggest doing, then you can set those as your interconnection piece as well. But you're going to be getting interconnection pieces through the work that we're doing together. You'll be getting some today in this process that we're doing, and you'll be able to take these pieces into your week. Think about is what you want exercise to look like, what you want your diet to look like, how many cups of water you want to drink a day. What I recommend is, instead of having like specific productivity and creative pieces, is how much time do you want to spend every day? That's what I did for myself. So I am doing 30 minutes of creativity every day and 30 minutes of productivity. And what you would think would be in my productivity time is actually in my creativity piece. What I'll probably be doing for my creativity piece is more business related stuff, because I want the emphasis on that to be on creativity, creative expression through what I'm putting out there on social media, through my videos. So that's why I place that in my creativity. But I'll also be doing other things. It doesn't just have to be do that, but I'm going to be doing 30 minutes minimum each day of creativity. And then for productivity, what I see myself doing mostly there are things around the house. So 30 minutes of doing non-everyday stuff, doing new projects, organizing, taxes, yard work, getting the garden in order, and doing that every day. And for me, that's like executive function kinds of things that are historically tough for me. And so I'm giving myself that as a goal so that I can overcome that. So, Vanessa, I don't know if that's something that you want to put in there or not, something along those lines of executive functioning pieces. Another person that really wanted to do this program, but her therapist told her not to, unfortunately. I think it would be really good for her. Her therapist was just afraid it would be too much at once. And she said, I have a hard time just getting out of bed and brushing my teeth and taking a shower and feeding myself. Can I use that as my creativity or interconnection pieces or whatever that is? And I was like, yeah. So it doesn't have to be 30 minutes at a time. It could be throughout the day. So even with exercise, I recommend an hour a day, but you get to choose what that looks like. But we're going to decide it tonight, and you're not going to change it afterwards. So you want it to be sustainable, you want it to be doable, but you also want it to be a challenge. You want to lean into your edge so that you're getting that feeling of moving forward and getting success. For instance, with exercise, I recently heard a study that doing 10 body weight squats every hour. So if you're at work, you just do 10 squats and then you go about and doing your thing every hour, that you get more benefit out of that than an hour at the gym. And so it might look like that for you. And then the interconnection pieces you'll be getting from this program. And if there's anything else in addition you want to add onto that, you can. Also, I put in there no alcohol.
So are these where it says 6 daily practices? Is this yours or is this for all of us?
That's for all of us. And then you'll decide which each of those look like for you.
Okay.
So what do you want your movement goal to look like every day?
Okay.
Like for some people, like an hour is way too much. Getting out of bed and walking for 5 minutes would be enough for them. But so these are my suggestions: an hour of exercise. With your food, I don't recommend doing an extreme diet, extreme ketosis with intermittent fasting, or going all raw vegan or all carnivore, unless it's something that you've really wanted to do, like doing an elimination FODMAP diet or something like that. What I recommend is see yourself at that ideal, whatever it is you're looking for, whether that's weight, health, strength, fitness, vitality. See yourself in the future having achieved that goal. And now you're in maintenance mode, right?
Okay.
What does maintenance mode look like so that you can maintain what you created in a sustainable way? Because the science is clear. Diets do not work. Restriction does not work. We can willpower through it, but if you're willing against something, what are you willing against? You're willing against yourself, right? So finding something where essentially you can get all of your parts on board and say, I can do this. And it's much easier to add in good stuff than to remove bad stuff. So for me in 75 Hard, I made sure I got my 5 whole servings of veggies and fruits, that I was getting protein, and then I could eat whatever else I want. And what tends to happen with your body when you're getting the nutrition you need, when you're getting the water that you need, you naturally have less of the cravings for the stuff that's not as good for you. And there's more of the motivation when you start to see the results and how you're feeling. You're like, you know what? If I eat that, I'm not going to feel great. If I eat that, I'm going to feel better. And so add in the things that are great versus having massive restriction. Because think about being a kid. No one wanted to be restricted. No one wanted to be disciplined. Just have discipline. No one wanted to be disciplined. And now you're going to do that to yourself. So instead, think of it as, what do I need? What do I really need that's going to give me the nourishment, the energy, the sustenance, the nutrition, the movement that I really need to be that version of myself? What would maintenance look like once I'm there? And bring in that maintenance plan for yourself. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions on any of the other pieces? The creativity piece, the productivity piece. I called it personal development. I called it personal development, not productivity. The personal.
Lorraine, I have a question, and it's just because it wasn't noted. I want to make sure. The meditation, journaling, inner work piece, is that again in that 15 to 30 minutes a day, or is that left to our own discretion?
So the interconnection, the meditation, journaling, and contemplation, that is part of the interconnection piece. I know it's hard to tell in the chat. And those are things that you'll be getting from me. So the people that are in the self-led group, they're going to decide what that looks like for themselves. I'll be popping some things in there. I'll be taking some pieces from our sessions, some educational pieces and stuff, and like popping it in there for people. But for the most part, it's up to them to decide what that looks like. But you all will be getting that piece from me, the interconnection pieces, and you'll be getting some of it tonight, and we'll build on it. So it's going to change. That is going to change throughout this 30 days as you learn new stuff. And if you want to set a meditation goal, a journaling goal, you can do that. All right. Any other questions? Is that clear?
Clear.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And so we'll come back and then we'll briefly go over the goals, see if they need any tweaking to make sure that they're tangible, SMART goals. And so let's do, is 10 minutes?
How are you feeling, Lorraine? How are you doing?
Oh yeah, I never introduced myself. All right, I'll introduce myself.
Good.
I'm Lorraine. Some of you know me better than others or longer than others. I've been in this healing world professionally for 20 years, but really for like 30 years. I just really got into spirituality and psychology starting in high school, and it just continued to grow from there. It served me well. And then a few years ago, I was guided to put a lot of this lens of looking at the world that I call spiritual, but it's not necessarily spiritual, putting it to the side and diving into authentic relating type practices, which are more based on traditional kind of psychology, which is what my degree is in. And without my spiritual anchor, I found myself struggling. But because of everything that has come out about the spiritual world and the toxic gurus and even coaching, I just did not want to be associated with it. I would do my own like ceremonies. I do these processes that I'm going to teach you here. I'd get these downloads and awarenesses. But then when I came back to my regular conscious awareness in life, I'd be like, no, I'm not I'm not bringing that stuff back. I'm not like, I just resisted it so much. And I had some shadowy times starting like mid 2020, and then having a good friend pass away in 2021, having eruptions with friends and family and just people that I cared about. And then going, okay, well, a common thing here is me. What do I need to look at here? So there was a lot of shadow of like, what's wrong with me? What am I not seeing? And then with the world changing, with all the technology and capitalism and just seeing struggle left and right, I was like, I don't even know if I want to be in this post-pandemic world. I told God, I told the universe, I was like, hey, if you're done with me, I'm ready to go. It just looks like struggle from here on out. And I'm feeling purposeless with everything that's going on with pandemic stuff. My kids weren't really talking to me, or at least a couple of them. Empty nesting at that, menopause, my business shifting, things in my friend group shifting, where I'm like, I just don't know that I'm really needed here anymore in this world. I've outused my usefulness. Like within a couple weeks of making that declaration to the universe, I woke up with stabbing pains in my belly. Yep. All over my belly, just like that. Heat would help, but it didn't go away. It would come back. And after, I think it was like 4 days of this, I remember being on the floor in the shower with the hot water pouring over me. And it dawned on me, wait, I invited this in. Like I made this happen. Because I'm thinking I'm going to die. And I was like, oh, wait, I created that. And then going back to my spiritual roots, I said, oh, well, if I created that, I can create something else. That was when I started rebuilding myself again after a couple years of not taking care of myself, putting on like 50 pounds. I didn't really exercise for a couple years. I didn't realize it at the time, but on the unconscious level, like, what's the point? I don't even know if I'm worthy and deserving of this. I don't even know if I'm a good person anymore. I was just really confused. So that's when I was bringing back my spiritual practices. And wouldn't you know, meditation made the belly pains go away. And I started becoming more aware again, like you were talking about, Samira, like, oh, I'm seeing things that I'd been missing. I didn't realize how much I'd gotten worked up into an anxious state because I was the one people came to. I wasn't the messy one. I was able to be present and connected. At one point, I thought I descended, I didn't even realize that the stress, the worry, the anxiety had creeped up on me so much and had taken over so much of my life. I liken it to secondhand smoke. I just thought it was low grade. But once I started getting still and clear again on a regular basis, I would just notice it. I noticed I was waking up in the mornings and the contents of my dream was creating the tummy pain because there was this bit of anxiety and stress in the dreams, not huge things, but enough. And I had gotten to such a jacked up, sensitive place that it didn't take much to have that negative impact. And so the minute when I would wake up in the morning, I'd notice my dreams and what I was doing, and then I would shift my energy to what I wanted it to be. I tune in, notice what was going on. Is there anything I need to do about this, which you all are going to learn? And then I shifted it. I got in alignment. I envisioned what I wanted to have. I got still. I got let go of as much as I could. And so I've been on this journey of rebuilding myself and my body and getting to a really great place and doing it in a sustainable way, slow and steady, not like crash course. That's the power of intention. And throughout my whole life, I've seen the power of intention, how I can create. And the way that I view the world, I know we all have different spiritual and religious beliefs here, but the way that I view the world is that, I will state this, in the New Age, there is a lot of rhetoric and belief that we're the center of the universe and we affect everything in our world. And I don't believe that. And that's an NLP as well, which is not spiritual or religious. It's a scientific discipline. I don't believe that everything is a reflection or a mirror of ourselves. A lot of it is, though. And so when we're looking out at our world and there's things that aren't working, the first thing we want to look at is ourselves. What is it within myself that I am projecting onto the world around me? And so it's attracting more of that. It's not as easy as the law of attraction. We're attracting everything into our lives. The way that I see it is life happens. There's life going on around us all the time. There's narcissists everywhere. But those of us with secure attachments that don't put up with shit don't allow narcissists to creep into our lives. Those of us with less secure attachments that have been conditioned to, that have grown up with narcissism, that have grown up with believing that they were less than in some way, will find themselves in relationships that mirror that back to them. So it's not like they're a magnet in attracting because their vibration is low, but it's, what am I willing to put up with because I don't believe I'm worthy and deserving of more, because I've never known anything else. Yeah. And that's all spiritual to me. And that's universal to me. No matter what your religious beliefs are, I read the Bible and I hear Jesus talking about it. They're talking about in Buddhism, in Hinduism, across the board, universally, you hear this message that we're attracting to us what it is that we are inside. Jesus said, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." The kingdom of heaven is at hand. We have the power to create heaven right here on earth or create hell right here on earth. I know that certain religions can trigger people, but I love studying all the religions, and so I will be pulling from different things as we go along, but that doesn't mean that's what you need to believe. I'll also talk about philosophers and just whatever comes to me. All right. All right. So does everyone have their goals?
Yes.
Good. Good. Let me just hear them just to make sure we're all on track. Kristen, would you like to go first? We'll just go in the same order.
Sure. For movement, I went with a 1 hour, and then just filled in a few details about it's walking, hiking, yoga, or strength training every day, or a combination of those things.
All right.
Hydration and nutrition. I'm really pushing myself to the edge here with 16 cups of water, which is
gallon.
Yeah, I'm going to be
gallon.
eating a lot. I put down 25 grams of fiber daily, mostly from fruits and veggies and legumes rather than.
Are you going to be measuring it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's not something I would do. Even my 5 cups of fruits and veg, I was estimating. All right. But if you're someone that will do that, good. I just want to make sure you're set up for success.
I'm better at having data points to anchor to.
Yep.
And let's see. I decided to write an interconnection goal, which is dream journaling every morning.
Okay.
I'm sporadic, but I find it very fulfilling and provides me a lot of self-awareness and
Yeah.
insight. So I'm going to commit to doing it every morning, even if I only remember a little sliver of my dream. Personal development, 30 minutes daily of all the shit I can't stand to do, like decluttering, organizing, like stuff around the house that I always manage to not get around to. Plus outreach to 2 distinct people each day, which I have a tendency to be very sort of dreamy and contemplative and isolating all at the same time. So pushing myself to make sure that I'm doing outbound contact.
Okay. And that could be text, email, phone call, social media.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I didn't count social media. It would be text, email, or phone calls. And it doesn't mean that, I talked to Max twice today. So
not Max.
It's not Max. It's not the people I talk to daily anyway. Good thing I have a big family, so I have plenty of people to reach out to. And then creative expression. I put 1 hour daily of creative writing and or sort of business development tasks, which are also creative. So I'm in the process of putting together content and a website and social media channels for what it is I am formulating and whipping up, and I'm going to put it out there into the world.
Awesome. Great. All right. Parissa, what about you?
For physical, I want to do 30 minutes every day of either walking, well, any of these, walking, yoga, or weightlifting.
30?
Yeah.
Okay.
For inner connection, my options for myself are reading, journaling, drawing, or meditation outside. And I want to do 20 minutes a day at least.
Okay.
I want to do 12 cups of water. And then for nourishment, I want to take my daily vitamin every day and eat at least 2 times a day. For creative expression, I just want to do 10 minutes every day of visualizing / like daydreaming / imagining. And then personal development, 15 minutes of my book. It's called Optimal Thinking. I've been trying to finish it for the past year or so. And if I don't want to read that, just 15 minutes reading like an article on psychology or another one of my psychology books.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Sounds good. Okay, Tiffany.
Okay. So for daily movement, I'm going to do an hour. And for hydration, I'm going to do 100 ounces of water.
Okay.
For nutrition, I am going to incorporate more fruits and vegetables. So 2 fruits and 3 vegetables. Because I've cut out additives and preservatives, but I don't know that I'm getting my full servings of fruits and vegetables. Like when you said that the other day, I was like, well, how much am I eating a day?
What if you end up having like 4 servings of fruit and 1 of vegetable? Are you okay?
I have to be careful because I have gastroparesis, so I don't fully digest all the time. So
that's fine.
I just have to balance that.
All right.
Personal development, I am working on organizing my business, organizing Dean's business, and organizing the house. And that's going to be 30 minutes.
30 minutes, okay.
And then on creative expression is also going to be 30 minutes of either creating new workshops with sound and meditation, and or just playing my sounds, and creating my new butterfly garden and herb garden.
Right. Beautiful. All right, Vanessa.
All right. So for movement, I've chosen an hour and kind of divided up between walking and doing things with a dog and yoga, and I have a dance class once a week. So kind of rotating between those.
Okay.
Hydration, I am aspiring to do 72 ounces of water plus a green tea. And I chose 72 ounces because that's 3 of these and I can count to 3.
All
So
right.
that's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Diet is staying within 50 grams of carbs. And I'm choosing that because I still have blood sugar goals I'm working towards. So I need to support that.
All right.
Meditation and journaling and inner work, that is to be continued because quite honestly, that's the hardest thing for me at this point in time. But
Well,
hopefully by the time
you can just have the things that are a part of that we do
yeah,
here.
your
Yeah.
assignments and whatnot. So I'm kind of looking forward to that because that is the hardest thing for me, unfortunately, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Personal development is 30 minutes a day, and I want to kind of rotate between a job application one day, posting a class another day. So I haven't picked that up since I took a break in September. Personal business that I've been putting off. So just blocking out 30 minutes a day and knowing structuring what's happening each day.
Okay.
And for expression creativity is organizing and organizing the house. Been really enjoying getting some of that done. Some upcycle projects, doing a crochet project, and working on a project car that my partner and I recently acquired.
All right. And
That's my
how
stuff.
many minutes?
Oh, I'm sorry. At least 30 minutes a day, but probably more than that.
Awesome. All right, Catherine.
Okay. Movement. I'm not as good as you ladies. I put 30 minutes of activity daily, but that could be more, but I'm for sure going to get 30 in.
Okay.
Hydration. I did 12 to 16 cups of water.
All right. So we'll put 12 since that's the minimum.
Okay.
And then if you have more, that's great. Okay.
Okay. As far as nourishment, I put 2 to 3 fruits daily, 3 to 5 veggies, 3 servings of protein, whether it be fish, eggs, yogurt. Not doing chicken or meat. 1 serving of grain, and then except for the weekends, no processed food, like in a box, no alcohol, and I am going to do my very best, no sugar. So these things are only things that I can have on the weekend. Alcohol, maybe I won't even have it on the weekend. But if I happen to go out with my boyfriend, we get a bottle of wine, or I go to visit my daughter in Kansas. They're young. They like to go out and have some drinks. So that's why.
So Kat,
Yeah.
I want to set you up for success here. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of very specific things that you
Yeah.
on here. So let me ask you something. You put 1 serving of grain. Does that mean only 1 serving, or you have to have at least 1 serving?
Oh, just at least 1 serving.
Okay.
So like if I wanted to have like quinoa, that would be a grain, or like, something like that.
Okay. All right. And then the fruit and vegetables. That's a good amount of vegetables. That's over the like RSDA recommended amount. And I want to
Well,
make sure that you can do that.
well, okay, so you think I should lower it then? I just figured if you had a salad, there's probably like 4 servings of vegetables in a salad,
Are you
right?
talking about servings of vegetables or actual vegetables?
Oh, no, servings.
Okay. So the recommended daily allowance of fruit and veg is 5.
5. Okay.
5 servings.
5
But
total
you
for
can,
fruit and veggies, or
yeah,
each fruit
you can
and
go you
veggies?
can go over if you like. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention because that's a lot of fruit and vegetables, especially if you're having 3 proteins and at least 1 grain and no sugar
Okay.
and no
So
sugar.
I'll just say 2 fruits then and like 3 veggies. How about that?
Sure. Okay, and then as far as sugar goes, what if there's sugar in your ketchup or your barbecue sauce? Like, what are you considering no sugar?
No added sugar. No donuts, cookies, cake, pie,
So it can be in
cobbler.
so it can be in condiments.
If I happen to have condiments, yes.
All right. What about things like honey, maple syrup, agave nectar, palm sugar, like the healthier sugars? Are those allowed?
Um, I say honey and maple syrup is okay, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And
Any,
I do real maple syrup. I don't do the fake
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so then for your
Does that sound good?
sounds good to me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So for your personal development, what's that?
Well, my connection is connection number 4.
Um, well, the interconnection is going to be, you don't need to add anything extra unless you don't want to, but it's going to be things that you learn in here, but you can add something else if you want.
Okay. I just had number 4 connection. I put prayer, gratitude. So
Okay.
remember to pray every day and to give gratitude.
And is there a time amount on that, or?
There's not a time amount
Okay.
to do it in the morning before I go to work.
Okay.
Actually, before I get out of bed.
All right. And then for your personal development.
Personal development, I want Kristen, Samira, and Vanessa to come to my house and help me organize. Just joking, ladies. You all said you wanted to organize.
Buy me a plane ticket.
Yeah, get them plane tickets.
No, but I want to pick an area or a section, whether it's a junk drawer, whether it's a pantry, refrigerator, my closet, something daily to spend 15 to 30 minutes organizing something
Right.
daily.
All right, so we're going to put 15 minutes, a minimum of 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then what
And
about your
then
creative
and
expression?
then well, I was going to say 15 minutes of reading as well. daily.
And 15 of reading. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And creative expression.
In creative expression, I want to learn to line dance. So I want to spend like 15 minutes a day. So that's over and above my movement. YouTube line dancing videos because I've gotten back into dancing and I don't know the new line dances anymore.
Okay. Okie dokie.
That's my creative expression.
Yay.
And I take a dance class once a week too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So those all sound good, sound measurable, sound clear, sound doable. So this is what I want you to do next. I want you to do just a little bit of writing, and I don't want you to think too hard about this. I want you to see yourself in the future at the end of 30 days, and you've accomplished all of these goals. Every single one of these goals. And I want you to see what you look like, that victory, that success, that championing, like that great feeling of, oh, yes, I've done this. Do you see it? Everyone see that? See it, feel it? Okay. And now I want you to just like backtrack in time. And I want you to see the day to day, the week to week, and what that looks like. And that might look quite different. That might look a little bit more challenging. During those challenging times, I want you to feel a deeper sense of why you're doing this, why it is that you're going to stick with it and not give up on the day that you feel like you don't have any energy, or you just want to grab that sugary thing, or make an excuse for why you don't really need to be creative. Instead of this real creative thing you want to do, you'll just do this kind of productivity thing instead and count that no. These are the challenges that are going to come up along the way. And so I want you to look at these goals, and I want you to ask yourself, and you can write this down. The first thing that comes to you, I don't want you to think too hard about it. What is important about this? What is important about me achieving this? Because you selected them, right? This was all customized. You selected it. What is important to me? Why is this important? And that might look like, why do I need this? And then, what will achieving this mean about you? What will achieving this mean about you? And then ask yourself, when I have that, how will I feel? Some feeling words are happy, joyful, satisfied, proud, joyous, accomplished, worthy, deserving. confident, purposeful, and when I accomplish that and I feel these things, then what will I think of myself? In other words, what will my self-talk be then? Seeing myself having moved through these challenges, succeeded, stuck with it. How will I feel about myself, and what will my inner dialogue about myself be? So when you have that and you feel those things, then what will your inner dialogue be? What will be different about the things that you say about yourself to yourself? Having accomplished what you set out to do, move through this process, learned the things that you've learned, gotten vulnerable, been open, explored all the things we're going to explore in this course. What will your inner dialogue, how will it be different? And now I want you to ask yourself, what is stopping you from being that person now? What's stopping me from being that person now? Wherever you're at, I want you to put your pen down, close your eyes, get comfortable. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, keeping yourself safe. And I want you to just tune inside and scan your body and notice what's happening in your body now. And I want you to find, as you scan within you, a place that feels a little unusual, something that's standing out to you, that's different than the norm. It's kind of peculiar and different. I want you to just notice that. Just look at it. You don't have to do anything with it, fix it, change it. Just look at it. See what you notice. And it might shift or move. Your attention might go to another place. Something else might get your attention. Just notice. Just a little bit more time here noticing. And then I want you to come back. Open your eyes. We're going to build up here. We're building up on a process. And tell me, what did you notice?
I'll go. What I noticed at first was when I was thinking about what I wrote down and how that was making me feel, I stopped slouching. So I immediately noticed an improvement in my posture. I was sitting up a little bit more straight and proud, I guess. And then when I dug a little deeper, I felt a very familiar sort of constriction right around like the bottom of my rib cage, which is always very, very tight. I feel like I have like an internal girdle. And it was like loosening up and then like, hey, what about us? What about me? Like, so it would start like almost pulsing in a way, like it didn't want me to forget about, I don't know, all those fears or constrictions or something.
So you felt that pulse, that constriction in there.
Yeah.
Good, good, good. Perfect. Great. Anyone else want to share?
I can go. I wanted to feel something profound, but I didn't. What I was feeling is I've had some problems with my left shoulder in general, but I'm having pain in a different spot. And the whole time I was thinking about that, I had been, like I'm going to see my chiropractor in a couple of days. And I went to talk to him about the next phase of fixing me because I've kind of regressed in certain ways.
Let's stay out of the story and just what did you notice?
Okay. As much as I tried to move away from my shoulder, because it's hurting, like you can see right there, instead of in the other places it normally does. It's like right in front. I kept trying, like, okay, I know, let's have a more profound moment. It just kept drawing its attention, so it was like hurting more, no matter what I did to like adjust or whatever. It kind of like your body girdle is like, no, we're here. So
good.
It just was like, no, we are not allowing you to move your attention. It hurts. So
it grabbed your attention. Yeah, good. So did everyone notice something? Yeah. Catherine, did you notice something too?
I guess I was confused what I was supposed to do.
Okay. Did you turn inside and notice any kind of sensation inside your body?
No, I guess I was just trying to visualize accomplishing these things and how it was making me feel more confident and driven, like I can do this. That's what I was thinking inside.
Got it. Awesome. All right. Oh, cool. All right. So let's go into this again then. All right. So go ahead. You can close your eyes again. And notice inside your body You might scan your body from your feet up through your head or your head down to your feet. And we're not trying to do anything. We're just noticing what's there. And something is going to grab your attention again. It might be the same thing, it might be different, but you're going to feel something unusual, something different, something out of the ordinary. It could be tingling, it could feel like a heaviness, it could feel lighter, it could feel hot. You might see an image as you're looking at it, or a color. And if you're seeing something, it might stay the same or it might shift and move. You might hear something on the inside, you might hear words. There's all kinds of things that you might notice, but you're not forcing it. You're not imagining something. You're not trying to make something happen or visualize. Just notice this thing that's this part that's getting your attention, either through sensation or something that just pops in that you see. Your hands might be hot. You might feel tingling in your feet. There's any number of things that could be happening. And if there's nothing happening, notice what your inner dialogue is about it, what you're making that mean. And note that. And then let that thought go. Come back to what you're feeling inside yourself. All right. And so let's come back to the room again. Again, we're slowly building on this. And what happened that time? Was it the same? Was it different? Did you go to the same place, a different place?
For me, the first time I realized that I wasn't breathing. Like I was like holding my breath, like restrictive, and being conscious of that. And the second one, I allowed myself to breathe, and that took me right into my heart space. And my heart space felt constricted the first time, and it felt like a deeper inside on the second round through.
Great. Great.
For me, the first time, I was paying attention to my feet. My left foot is super cold. And then the second time, I noticed that it's my whole left leg, actually, that feels different than my right leg. Like my right leg is warmer and more fluid, and my left leg is more solid and cold and like frozen. And toward the end, though, my attention went to my like head, my temple crown area, and I could feel and even like see this frequency. Honestly, it's kind of weird. Almost like a massage, but it's like an energy that's like doing this.
Oh, all right. Cool. Catherine, how was that for you this time?
Oh, I'm sorry. It was the same.
So, what was it like for you?
I mean, just thinking positive is really the feeling that I was getting going through me. To be honest, I had to go to the bathroom too, so that was probably taking part of my mind off of what I was supposed to be feeling. Sorry, guys.
Got
I'm
it.
just being honest with you.
Yeah, well, thanks for being honest. Catherine, can I take you through something for like a minute?
Sure.
Great. Would you close your eyes and then do you know what a body scan is?
No, I guess not. I don't know what you're talking about as far as a body scan, though.
Yeah. So I want you to just, with your eyes closed, like you're looking inside yourself. And I want you to feel inside yourself, inside your body, so that there's sensation. It's the realm of sensation. So we have emotions and then we also have feelings, which are used interchangeably, but we also have feelings as far as like I can feel and touch things. But what do you feel on the inside as you put your attention inside yourself? What do you notice?
Well, I mean, I guess right now which doesn't make sense, my chest feels a little heavy.
There we go. There we go. So your chest feels heavy. And so
Yeah.
your brain is saying, this doesn't make sense. And I want you to notice that that's what your brain did, because your brain's trying to make sense of things. It's trying to figure things out. It wants to know. And that's what our brains, because that's what our brains do. That's what our conscious mind wants to do. It wants to figure things out. It wants to know. And what I want to do is get us out of that brain that's always trying to plan and figure it out and know, and come to, oh, I feel this heaviness in my chest. And it doesn't make sense. And that's okay. I'm going to stay with this. What do you notice now?
It's easing up some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautiful. So I want you to stay with that, okay?
Uh-huh.
And then I want to invite everyone else to close your eyes. And again, tune inside and notice what you notice. And your attention might go to the same spot, or there might be a different spot. And all of those possibilities of things that were there before, you might notice again. Heaviness, or a lightness, or a tingling, or a color, or an image, or something that feels like pressure or pain. And notice if your mind wants to make it good or bad or right or wrong. And then don't make yourself wrong for doing that. It's a notice. And just let that narrator quiet down, or maybe drift away like a cloud in the sky, and come back to what you're feeling inside. And so now that you've had this experience, a feeling sensation, I want you to add just a little bit of direction. And I'm going to give you some suggestions, and you can choose what suggestion that you give to this part of you that you're noticing, whether that's your heart or your shoulder or your foot or your hand or your head, wherever, whatever is grabbing your attention now. Give it a suggestion, asking it a question, a request. And it could be more, as simple as more, or it might be less. And just say that word over and over again, and don't force it, don't direct it, don't imagine it. Just see what happens when you say more of that, more of that, please. Or less of that, please. And notice what happens. More of that, please. Expand that more, please. Less of that. And then come back into the room, open your eyes, shake things up a little bit. And how is that? Who is able to get that thing that they were noticing, that unusual place, to respond to your request? Who was able to do that? Yeah. What about you, Vanessa? Were you able to? Did it take your direction?
I feel like maybe to a slight degree. Like I started out in the second round, I noticed that it was basically my entire left side of my body, my ankle, my knee, kidney, shoulder, arm, neck. And my neck was being the most profound in the last one. And I was asking them, why are you here? Because this is where I store a lot of stuff. And so that's always been like
Did you
that.
get
My
did you get
left
an
shoulder.
answer? Did you get an answer to that?
No, it's not talking to me yet. And I was reverted to, okay, we'll be a little more simple and doing less. And you know, the vision I had inside my eyelids, it got to be more of a lighter cloud versus a darker cloud, if that makes sense. And it did loosen up a little bit. So that's something I'm going to maybe explore a little bit more. Because yeah, my shoulder, I've always stuffed all the stuff here.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. So a little bit, but maybe not. What about you, Catherine? I can't see your hand, so I don't know. I'm not picking on you.
I mean, I felt the weight in my chest. It was alleviated some. So it's definitely not as heavy of a weight there.
And what were you saying to it?
I was saying to it more.
You were saying
more. I was saying more. But I was thinking like confidence.
Got it. Okay.
You know?
Yeah. So this next time that we go into this, when you say more or less, whichever it is, rather than increasing your thought about what you want it to be, I want you to be with the sensation of it. When we go back in, if it's the heaviness again, it'll be either more of the heaviness or less of the heaviness. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Is that making sense to everyone? Because why we're doing this, we're stair stepping up here because this is our subconscious mind. also called unconscious. I will be using those interchangeably. And our unconscious mind is 90% of who we are. Every choice that you make. It's the reason why you can say you're not going to have any sugar, and then someone brings in donuts and you ate 3 donuts and you're like, well, I don't know what happened. It's the reason why someone can go into a rage and not remember it, because it's the unconscious mind that comes and takes over. It's our programming. That's 90% of who we are. If you think of an iceberg, the Titanic sunk because you could only see 10% of that iceberg. The other 90% is underneath. And so what we're tapping into is this 90%. And this little piece that's above here, this is our conscious mind. And this is the part that we know. This is the part that we're aware of. This is all the stuff that we know that we know. And so we try to figure out our problems with this much of what it is that we know and have available to us. And that's why we cycle through and we can't figure it out, because we're trying to use our conscious minds. And so, like Catherine, your conscious mind is trying to come in and control things. Right?
Right.
That's what it's used to doing. And so what we want to do is not make the conscious mind bad, because it serves its role and its purpose. Its job is to choose, right? You've chosen what you've chosen to do is be a part of this for 30 days so that you can have that version of you at the end of this.
Okay.
Right? That's your choice. That's your conscious mind's job, to choose. So now it's your unconscious mind's job to make that happen for you. But the problem is, it won't happen. Even if you give yourself positive affirmations all the time, even if you visualize more confidence, it's not going to happen if on the unconscious level you don't believe it is possible, or on some level you think it's safe. You can't have that. The unconscious mind wants and likes what is familiar and what is comfortable, because that's what it thinks is safe for you. And so when you're like, no, I want it to be like this, it's like, no, not going to happen. And so that's why it feels like you self-sabotage, why you're like, I take 1 step forward and 2 steps back. That's because the subconscious mind is like, no, can't do that. That's not safe, because it's not familiar, it's not comfortable, or any number of other reasons why it can perceive it as a threat, even when it's not. Okay. And so what we're doing now is we're creating a relationship between us, which we could call our conscious minds, but we're more than our conscious minds. We're more than our minds or our bodies or emotions, but we're creating a relationship between ourselves and our unconscious mind. And because our unconscious mind, have you all ever had a friend that always comes to you wanting something and needing advice and support, but they never take your advice? You give them the best advice. You sit and you listen to them for hours, and then they just go back and do the same old thing. What do you tend to do over time when that happens?
Just don't give it to them anymore.
Yep. You're like, you never listen to me anyway. Why am I going to talk to you? Why am I going to work with you? Because you're just going to do whatever you're going to do anyway. So this is the relationship that we get into with our unconscious mind, right? Because our unconscious mind, like that 90% of who we are, like it knows so much, and it's connected to universal consciousness, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. You might even call them the same things, right? When people talk about connecting to their guides, their angels, talking to spirit, communicating with God, intuition, one could make the argument that these are all the same things. I don't know if that's true or not. But what I know is we're tapping into something beyond the ordinary, right? And we're developing that relationship, that inner knowing. And so you could call this getting in connection with your intuition, or your spirit guides, or angels. And this is how it communicates. but I'm going to use the terminology of unconscious mind. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You ready to go again? So go ahead and close your eyes and go back in, tune in, notice what you know now. It could be the same area, it could be somewhere else. And once you find that, I want you to give it that request again. More, 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 or less, less, less. And notice how it responds, if at all. It may not, that's okay. It just means that you've got more practice to do around this. Just notice how and if it responds to your suggestion of more of that, or less of that. Now, just drift. Stop giving the request and just notice and allow yourself to come into this more of a drifting space, like an empty space, like you're just coasting. You're not commanding anything, you're not doing anything. Notice what your experience is now in this place. If your mind has wandered off, come back to the sensation, come back to what you're noticing. And now I want you to ask a question, and I'll give some variations so you can ask what feels best for you. Vanessa was a step ahead. So a question could be, what is it that you want me to learn or know? Why is this here? Why are you here? And notice what comes up. Again, it might be words, it could be mysterious, and it doesn't make any sense at all. Just like Catherine said, it might make no sense. But just notice what it is and let there be more of it. What do you want me to learn or know? Why are you here? What do you want me to know? What's this about? All right. Come back into the room, open your eyes, shake it off a bit. Ooh. So how was that? Who got an answer?
I did.
Yeah. Did you, Vanessa?
I got things.
You got things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the answer can come in any of those ways that tingles and images, and it doesn't need to make sense. What's the brief explanation of the things? Not no making,
It
no trying to make sense of it. I don't want you all to try to make sense out of any of this today or after today, okay?
It was a visualization that slowly started emerging, and it was a square cut diamond earring in a gold four-pronged setting. And first it started out at the lower left-hand side, and then it started emerging, then it started rotating.
Beautiful.
I don't really care for diamonds, and I don't wear gold, so I don't understand.
See what I'm
But
saying?
that's what I saw.
See what I'm saying? It doesn't have to make sense. And I want to urge you all to not try to make sense of this. Okay? I purposely did not schedule a coaching call on this Thursday. This will be the only Thursday we don't have a call because I want you to stay in this state of processing. Okay? This is processing. These things are coming up. If you try to make sense of it, you're going to get in the way of the processing. All right? Is there anyone that did not have anything come up around that? Catherine, did you?
It was just my chest was lighter.
Your chest was lighter.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So each step of the way, this is the next step in the relationship with your subconscious mind. So if your subconscious mind isn't responding, then you'll want to work at the step that you're at, right? So the more space and playing around with that, tuning in and then seeing, can I turn this up and can I dial it down? Can I turn it up? Can I dial it down? And then what is it that you want me to know? So Catherine, you'll probably want to be playing with the turn it up, turn it down, right? And then tuning into, okay, what do you want me to know? And I want you to stay in this question. When I go into this place, I don't get those answers right away. I don't get it in a short amount of time like this. It'll be after a 20-minute meditation or area of that floating, drifting feeling, then things will come through. Because you're not going to think about it after this, you're not going to try to analyze it. It's just going to pop in. It's just going to suddenly pop in.
Okay.
A couple days from now, a week from now, all this, it'll be the same station. Like, I'm trying to remember. You know that song? Oh, I'm trying to remember that song. And what do you have to do? If you keep trying to figure out the song, it's not going to come through. You have to let it go, and then it pops in, like right before you go to bed or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be like that. Okay. There was more that I had planned, but I'm seeing that we are at the 3-hour mark. So we can pick it up next week. And then the next level, the next thing that we're doing with it, more complexity, wherever it is that you're communicating with your unconscious mind, that's the level that you're going to want to be playing at. Because when someone tries to get you to do something that you're not ready to do, how do you feel? Yeah.
Resistant.
You resist more.
Resistant.
You want to resist more. And this is one reason why affirmations don't usually work, because we haven't created that relationship with our unconscious mind yet. And so once we have that relationship with our unconscious mind, then we can let those affirmations in, those positive things. It's like, I'm confident, whatever the affirmation is. And we can communicate with our unconscious mind so that it can give us what we want. Okay. So we're stair-stepping it up, and we want to honor wherever we're at, Notice if we're making ourselves wrong in any way, making ourselves feel bad or less than, and that's all information for us to notice and go like, oh yeah, I don't need that. I'm learning something new, and everyone's at a different place. You're all doing great. In the meantime, as part of your interconnection practice, is I want you to spend 10 minutes a day. That can be in the morning, it could be the evening. Did I say 10 minutes? 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes going into the state and noticing what's going on inside of you. Notice if you're trying to make sense of it, label it. We'll get around to labeling it later when we get to emotions and stuff like that. But for now, I don't want you to try to label like, oh, it's this emotion, just let that go. Just notice the sensation. We're operating on the level of sensation. So notice what's there. And then you can say more, try to give it like little commands, requests, and see how it responds. And you can go into that drifty place then for the rest of the 5 minutes. You can ask questions. Why are you here? What is it that you want me to know? You might find that you even go into a regression, like it might make you think of your childhood. That's called a spontaneous regression. Just notice if that happens and what comes up. And then usually like around 5 minutes, you'll feel good with that. If you want to go longer, you can. Like it feels like something you want to do that you can. But generally, the moment you start to feel some like resistance, like you're bored, like you're done, you just get this feeling like, okay, I'm done, then you can end it. Or you can just set your timer for 5 minutes and then go on with your day. And then I don't want you to try to make something happen, right? So if you don't get the learning come through, this is what I want you to learn, that's okay. Just let it go. And just like the song that you couldn't remember, it's going to pop in at some point. It's going to be like a big aha moment. You're like, oh yeah. And it could be a week from now. It could be 2 weeks from now. But what you want to do is just get into this place of presence and allowing and surrender and letting things happen, letting things come up without having to know what it means, like the diamond thing, right? I don't have to know what that is, but I can just pay attention to it. All right?
Okay.
Good. What I'd also love for you to do is put your goals, type your goals in the Facebook group. And it can either be its own post or it can be in this specific post that I put for putting goals in. Either way. All right. Cool. Any other questions, any wins, any ahas, put those in the Facebook group. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
All
Bye,
right.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.